What's up, everyone, and welcome to Last Week in Star Wars. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
And we have some minor Star Wars movie news updates to get into. Not a whole lot of actual news, just some interviews coming out because Vanity Fair and Empire are about to release their look ahead at movie blockbuster issues, I think. So first up, Vanity Fair put out a small interview with Shawn Levy, and there's a picture of him on the set, which it's impossible to make anything out.
Yeah, it's more about Shawn Levy, the man, than it is about Star Wars or Starfighter.
Yeah, it is a good sign, I think, that they're already talking about this movie that is less than 2 years away at this point, but it's been a long time since Star Wars has been on the big screen. And they're talking about Starfighter as much as they're talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu right now.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I was like, maybe that's because of Stranger Things having this big comeback for its final season, because Shawn Levy is very much involved with Stranger Things. So any interview that Shawn Levy does, he's going to get asked about the Star Wars project because everyone gets asked about that. And he really is keeping it all very close to the chest. He's not giving us anything.
He did say in that interview that Stranger Things really taught him to keep his mouth shut.
Yes.
Yeah, that interview was almost as much about Stranger Things. So I think you're right that with Stranger Things coming back this past week, they wanted to kind of use that to also drum up interest about Starfighter. I wouldn't say there was anything huge in this article. He continues to really insist that this is a standalone movie, which I do think is good. That seems to be the messaging where I'm starting to maybe temper my expectations that this isn't going to get into big galactic stakes of, well, maybe we'll get a mention of whatever the new government is, but I don't think that's going to be the focus at all.
Yeah. I don't know if it was in this article or a different one, but I saw people kind of reporting on this news that he had mentioned talking to Kathleen Kennedy or something, and Kathleen told him, make the movie that you want to make, which I was like, yeah, okay, of course she would say that. But then I thought about it more and I was like, it feels like early or pre-damage control. It feels like a way to just put out there that Kathleen Kennedy didn't have anything to do with this.
I don't see it as damage control. I see it as almost a freeing up of, it doesn't have to be tied to the Skywalker saga. It's not going to be episode 10. You can do whatever you want, make something that feels right to you. It's also not going to be Solo or Rogue One, which are still Skywalker saga adjacent.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like this is, I guess I'm hoping this is the new era of Star Wars movie making, that we're going to open things up and let creators expand on Star Wars instead of having to tell the next Skywalker saga story.
Yeah. Part of it just, sparked this idea in my head that made me angry, just because the bad side of the internet loves to blame Kathleen Kennedy for everything.
Right. So
to me, it felt a little bit like they're getting ahead of that by saying, oh, she let me do whatever I wanted, and that's that kind of, I just had that idea today, not necessarily when I first saw this news, but I was kind of like,
Well, no, I mean, I think I see what you're saying, and that Tony Gilroy said similar stuff. I think that a lot of these people know and respect Kathleen, and they're perplexed by the way the internet is.
Right. And it doesn't matter what they say.
Right. She's still producing the movie, and they're going to, if it's great, it's going to be all Shawn's fault. And if it's terrible, it's going to be all Kathleen's fault.
Correct.
That tends to be how things go.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything they can say ahead of the release of the film to keep that kind of stuff from happening.
See, I see it as the opposite of more, I am the creator and I have all this creative control, which has been a sticking point for me going back to the sequels, where Disney was just here are the release dates, go make a Skywalker saga movies. And this, I hope, feels more free to Shawn, and I forget the screenwriter's name, but he is a longtime collaborator of Shawn's. But for the movie that is closer to release, Jon Favreau had an interview, or part of an interview, come out with Empire Magazine. Again, I think these are like small little tidbits that are going to build up to one larger article. But he talked about doing a 4th season of The Mandalorian, that he had already written that, which we knew that already. After season 3, he's like, I've already written season 4. And then The Mandalorian and Grogu got announced, and we were like, what's going on now?
Yeah.
But he said, I still have it written, and it's sitting here on my desk. So I think that kind of clears some things up for me.
I don't know that it does for me. I mean, he did also say something like, this was made to be the story of Mandalorian Grogu was made to be a movie, so it's going to feel different. It's got like a bigger scale to it.
Yeah, I wrote that down too, that it's structured around a movie structure as opposed to a serialized weekly television show, so there's a larger throw to the whole thing. He also mentioned basically starting fresh on the movie. I think my fear was that this movie was going to be Disney saying, we're not doing streaming anymore. Take that season 4, cram it into 2 hours, and tell it as a movie. It sounds like that's not the case.
It kind of reminds me of Book of Boba Fett, because we feel like Book of Boba Fett was put out there partially because of Pedro Pascal's schedule.
Very busy schedule.
And they needed something to pad out a little bit of time. I mean, I loved the show. I really like what they did with Boba Fett's story. But to me, I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, because we didn't hear anything about it until after all the movies that were announced at Celebration, it felt like maybe they took the big season premiere of season 4, like the first episode, and stretched that out into a film, and then hopefully they can take off from there and do a season 4. I would like to see that, but it does feel kind of like, okay, maybe they just took something from that season 4 script and stretched it out into this movie, and they were like, let's stick it in here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be too hard to shift and just say, we're building up to Filoni's Thrawn movie, and we have all these Imperial warlords, and I'm sure season 4 was going to start dealing with that based on how season 3 ended, so they can just take one of the warlords and be like, he's the main enemy of season 4, and we're building up, and then, if we get a season 4, then we just continue with another warlord or something.
Yeah.
But it is just a strange structure to me to like plop a movie down in the middle of a show. But I keep telling myself X-Files did it too, and I think the X-Files movie is great.
Oh, I mean, I have no issue with it at all. I think that's a fun way of doing things, but I do think it was a late decision, which makes me kind of like...
I'm hopeful that they do a season 4. I mean, like, I've said this over and over, that I think The Mandalorian is the Disney Plus Star Wars show that feels the most like a show, where even Andor, like, it made sense that they put them out at 3 episodes at a time for season 2, because they felt like these movie events almost, whereas Mandalorian, he and Grogu go to a different planet every week, and it's very serialized. And I was like, yeah, this is a good show. And, they're going to start working for the New Republic, and they'll go on a new mission every week. And now we're taking this show and making it a movie. So I hope that The Mandalorian gets a 4th season, and that this isn't like the end of their run, which I'm sure they'll appear in the Filoni movie. But
I have a feeling it's going to depend on how the movie does. If the movie does really, really great, we'll probably get an 8 to 10 episode, maybe more.
10 episodes? Whoa.
Yeah.
Slow down now.
If the movie does really well, I think they will go forward with a normal length season 4. If the movie tanks or doesn't do very well, I think Disney's going to say, you can't do season 4, or you can do a season 4, but it's got to be like 4 or 5 episodes only. And that, that's more an issue with like these big companies that have
all the streamers right now,
have the overall say as to whether or not a show gets made. I'm sure they want to do a season 4. I hope they do.
I think you're probably right. Or maybe like the movie is gonna help fund the fourth season. I don't know, because Disney Plus doesn't appear to be making any money, and they were throwing everything they had at it.
Yeah.
So I know The Mandalorian was one of their most successful shows, though, because people love Baby Yoda.
Yeah. True.
Can you confirm?
Confirm. I'll be interested to see the marketing for this movie closer to its release. It's coming out in May next year. So I'm thinking like late winter, early spring. I would love to see just a huge push.
Well, we're recording this on Wednesday, and there was some rumor that there'd be a new trailer with Zootopia 2. So we'll see. We'll see if there's a new trailer that we haven't seen yet, despite this coming out on Saturday.
Yeah. It still very much feels like they're just trying to appeal to everyone who thinks Baby Yoda's cute, because there's no dialogue. We don't know anything about the story or dialogue or anything, but we've seen Baby Yoda, and he's swimming and he's hanging out with Anzellans who are also small and cute, and the robots from Galaxy's Edge are there, very small and cute. So I'm just like, they're marketing this as like a family.
Yes.
Your kids think things are cute, so bring them to see this movie.
I do think you're right. And I think that's a smart move too. I mean, I agree Baby Yoda's cute. I also think The Mandalorian can be badass when he wants to be. And the trailer looks like it's gonna it felt more like a season 1, season 2 of The Mandalorian to me than season 3, which I think got a little too bogged down in like the Mandalorian lore and all that.
I think it would make a lot more money if they showed Pedro's face. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
if Pedro Pascal, the man and the face, showed up in the movie and we knew that going into it, more people would see it.
I think you're right, but that also seems like almost one of the mysteries of like, will we see his face again?
Yeah.
I
doubt it, honestly.
I'm leaning towards it'll happen in the movie, but I don't know why. I don't have a good reason for it.
I hope it does. Like, I really do. For my own sake, and like I said, I think more people would see it if they knew that.
I love that we're clamoring to see Pedro Pascal's face as if he hasn't been in everything the past few years.
True. But we've been listening to his voice as Din this whole time, so we still have that connection.
Well, and if we see his face in the movie, that's a big story character moment.
Yes.
But moving on to last week in canon, we just had one new comic issue. It was Boba Fett, Black, White, and Red, issue 3. And these anthology series sometimes are up and down for me, but I really dug this issue.
I just read it, and I had heard you say that. What about it did you really like?
So I think that these anthologies, and especially the Black, White, and Red, because they're so focused on art, they're a chance to take really big, weird swings. And this was big and weird, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, Boba Fett fighting an army of Bomar monks is just like, how did we get here? But also, it's Star Wars. It feels right. It feels fun.
It was very creepy.
Yeah.
In the end there. It felt like kind of like a Terrifying Tales kind of story plot. But I've been thinking, this has kind of happened in the other issues too, but this one specifically, it reminds me of that dream sequence from A Christmas Story where he's like the badass
with
sheriff with the BB gun, and all the bad guys see him, and he's like, "Oh no,
it's Boba Fett!" Yeah,
and they're just like skedaddling out of there, like, "Oh God, it's Boba Fett!" Because I mean, these, like you said, these are meant to be more about the art, and they're meant to make Boba Fett look like a total badass, and they do that very well. And I just kept thinking about,
I'm imagining Ralphie under that helmet now. It's great. He's got a little E-33 BB gun.
Yeah.
So the basics of the story is that when Boba Fett was younger during the Clone Wars, before he had the full Mando armor suit, he went after this bounty and failed to collect, and the guy beat him up, but like left him alive to feel its shame. And so for years, as Boba Fett got better, he like never forgot about that. And he tracks this dude down who has become a part of a sect of violent Bomar monks. So a bunch of those spider droids with the brain jars.
Yeah, I wonder what else they've done. Like, are they like gearing up to be like a big threat? Or have they already been a threat? I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't really understand what their goal is. It's just like, well, I guess it was more people who were violent in life. And they think like, well, I'm going to hell. So instead, I'm going to put my brain in this jar and live forever.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to avoid what they think the afterlife will be for them.
And they had basically their own little Inquisitorius. They had this like big, cool building surrounded by water.
Yeah. The building was cool. They have their own symbol. They're really advertising like their
huge flags.
Yeah,
They're
huge
like,
flag.
We're here. This is us.
So Boba Fett tracks down. That's where his old bounty wound up, and he has to fight him in like this battle droid thing. Which again, I was just like, this is so weird, but in the fun comic book kind of way, where I'm like, if this happened in a live action, if this happened in the book of Boba Fett, I'd be like, everyone calm down. But in a comic issue, I'm like, keep it up, Ethan Sachs. Like, it feels right for a Star Wars comic.
I keep just going back to this thought of like, I feel like a lot of the old school Boba Fett fans would love these because it really is all about him just looking cool and being cool. But when I think about it in the terms of Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, that's very unhealthy to like still hold this grudge against this guy and then go and find his brain and kill him just for fun.
Super unhealthy. But like that, I remember when Book of Boba Fett was coming out and they kept kind of calling back to Jango Fett and showing like, you can be the best bounty hunter, but this is where it gets you, is dead in the dirt. And that's what almost happened to Boba Fett. And I like that Ethan Sachs wrote in some stuff about Jango and the Boba Fett's like bounty, his target is twisting the knife and saying like Jango would be ashamed of you. And
it's exactly what the Boba Fett of that age and time would do.
It's cool that we have like these different he's like Taylor Swift. He's got these eras where we get little like Daniel Logan Child. We get Clone Wars with the different mask and everything.
We get weird helmet era.
And then we get classic Empire Boba. And now we have mentally healing, mentally healthy Boba Fett.
Thriving.
Went to therapy and is back to tank.
Yeah.
But to close out this week, we took a couple questions from our Patreon. And first, Charlie Hodgman asks if the Sith are really, truly gone in Star Wars after the rise of Skywalker.
I doubt it.
That's kind of my inclination as well. I hope so. At least I hope the Emperor doesn't come back again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, no. That's, he should be really and truly gone. I would not mind if the Sith Order also disappeared, at least for a while. Yeah.
Well, I guess, I mean, I feel like you still need that balance. So I feel like as long as the Jedi are around, it would make sense for the Sith to also always be around somewhere, somehow, unless they decide to just completely change up what the next order of baddies are going to be called.
Yeah, I mean, there absolutely still needs to be the dark side. And I think The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, like the sequels did a big job in their promotional stuff saying like, Kylo Ren's not a Sith, Snoke is not a Sith.
Right.
And we were like, oh, we're going to see what the galaxy is like without the Sith around. Just kidding. They were all being manipulated by the Sith. We're like, okay. So part of me still wants to see just an order of Darksiders or baddies or whatever that don't follow the same rules as the Sith. What does that look like? But I'm not opposed to, I mean, the old Legend Star Wars comics did it too, where the Sith came back multiple times. And I don't think that the Order would be erased from history. I think someone somewhere would be interested in what they had to say and would try to bring it back. But I'm like, just give it a century or two.
Yeah. I do think Star Wars has been testing the waters with coming up with these new bad guys who are not Sith. We had the Nile, we have Balin's Skull, we've had the Stranger, and they're not quite Sith, and they all think that they have this like grand plan that's better than what anyone else could come up with, including the Sith. So I wonder if they've been testing the waters for that so that they can introduce some new order.
Yeah. I have no idea what it would look like. What does the dark side look like without the Sith? At least an organized group of Darksiders, but that's not my job to figure it out. So
right. I don't think they'll get rid of the Sith because they're too easily marketable. They're cool to a lot of people. You know, everyone thinks Vader's cool or whatever, and like the Sith, they're just easy to market.
There's also the whole thing of like, even though they kept saying Kylo Ren's not a Sith, people still thought he was.
Yeah, red lightsaber.
Just because he had a red lightsaber. Or, people call like dark side eyes Sith eyes. And it's like, no, that's a dark side thing. It just happens to be that Sith are dark side users, and those are the only Darksiders we've really seen.
Yeah. But that can be, I mean, understandably, it's confusing because like Dooku didn't have the eyes and...
Yeah, that's it. Dooku had the eyes in one scene of the Clone Wars. Kylo Ren got the eyes in his comic again in one scene. So I agree. It's confusing. For our last question, Josh asks if anyone in Star Wars has ever named their weapon. And
High Republic?
I kind of felt like someone somewhere has. I'm thinking mostly lightsabers, and people, I've seen other people ask this question about like Excalibur, or Game of Thrones has a lot of named swords.
Sting.
What?
Sting.
Yeah, Sting, Lord of the Rings. The Darksaber is the closest thing I can think of, which it's not, that doesn't feel like a name so much as a label almost.
Yeah, it feels kind of like a placeholder name. Or like no one knows the real name of it because it was lost to time.
It feels like a first draft name where Vizsla turned it on and was like, oh, it's dark. Darksaber, hold on.
Not quite a lightsaber. Well, I'll just Darksaber for now.
Yeah, TBD name. That would be,
it's a working title.
The Darksaber could have a cool Mandalorian. Maybe in Mandoa.
In Mandoa, yeah.
But I could not find anyone that had named their lightsaber. I do feel like the Jedi probably wouldn't do that just because that seems like a form of attachment.
Sure. I guess I'm just, there was so much in the High Republic, and it was, a lot of it was different times. So I was thinking maybe there was someone that had done that, or maybe not.
See, that actually jogs my memory a little bit. I think Bell named his and Loden's Vector, and there was even a passage about that where he's like, Jedi aren't really supposed to name their ships, but oh well, I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, like lightsabers being such a part of who they are and their identity, maybe they're discouraged from doing that. But the Sith, I could kind of, the lightsaber of Darth Noctis has that big like scythe. I'm like, who wouldn't want to name that?
Yeah. I guess maybe I'm thinking of Blade of Bardata, which I know is a nickname for Porter Engle, the man. But because it's Blade of Bardata, in my mind, I was like, maybe that could also count for his weapon.
Yeah. Maybe he... Everyone calls him that, and then he calls his lightsaber that.
Yeah.
I do feel like, Porter seems like the kind of guy that would name his lightsaber. But I think that's an interesting thing to explore. And I'm surprised that it hasn't happened. Or if it has, tell me I'm wrong in the comments, because I think it's interesting. Or even, I just couldn't find any proof of it.
What was the assassin for hire or bounty hunter ex-Jedi?
Ty Yorick.
I was thinking maybe Ty Yorick, just because of her alternative
lifestyle
occupation.
That's someone who leaves the order and isn't quite a Jedi.
And she had that cool feature on her saber too, didn't she?
Where she added like stabby points to it.
Yeah, if someone else picked it up.
Yeah. Well, she also could just stab someone with it.
Yeah. I always loved her lightsaber.
Yeah, and that sounds like another one that just deserves a name. I don't know.
Mr. Pointy.
Just go straight Buffy with it.
Yeah.
She is a Buffy-like character. She's a monster hunter.
Yeah.
But that's it for last week in Star Wars. Next week, we'll be covering Legacy of Vader issue 11 and any news that drops. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.